Hafa Day, welcome to the Weekend Edition. I'm Adriana Cotero. Glad you could join us. We begin with the latest on the fatal Gqo Shooting investigation as 2 people were officially charged. 27-year-old Tomas Taitano and 33-year-old Joshua Plausius appeared in the Superior Court of Guam Saturday afternoon for a magistrate's hearing following their arrest several hours earlier. The 2 were arrested in connection to the shooting death of Keith Castro on Sunday, July 28th at a home along Chalantun Fred Cabeza. According to court documents, Castro was in the area to sell a motor vehicle when Taitano allegedly arrived and started to fight with him. While the 2 were fighting, Taitano allegedly hit Castro with what appeared to be a baton. Court documents further allege that during the fight, Plausius pointed a firearm at Castro. Castro at one point managed to escape and tried to run away, but slipped and fell. It's alleged Taitano continued to assault Castro with the baton and Plausius then shot him. The 2 then fled separately in their cars. According to court documents, on the following day, on July 29th, police were informed that Taitano allegedly tried to run over 3 people with his car in Dededo. He also is alleged to have damaged 2 other cars. A wanted flyer was issued for Taitano on Tuesday. As reported, police last saw him during a chase along Chalan Evangelista and Gqo on Monday night. During the pursuit, he allegedly ran into the passenger side of a disabled police car. Taitano managed to escape police custody by fleeing on foot. When questioned by detectives, Taitano allegedly admitted striking Castro during the fight. However, when KUAM spoke with him as he was being escorted into the Agana precinct, he said, quote, "I didn't do anything." Plausius, meanwhile, told investigators that he didn't remember being at the location, but admitted that he had been on the drug ice for the past 5 days, and that ice causes him to black out and not know where he is. Plausius was charged with murder, while Taitano was charged with aggravated assault, criminal mischief to a motor vehicle, and eluding a police officer. Because of conflicts with the Public Defender's Office and alternate Public Defender's Office, during this afternoon's hearing, Magistrate Judge Benjamin Sison appointed Jay Areola to represent Plausius. His hearing was continued until Monday, August 5th, so that Attorney Areola can be present. As for Taitano, he is being represented by the Public Defender's Office. Judge Sison set a $100,000 cash bail. His next court hearing is before Judge Maria Senzon on August 13th. As reported, a 3rd person was also arrested and escorted to the Agana precinct by detectives from the Criminal Investigation Division early Saturday morning. 22-year-old Jalene Rose Cruz Cabe was booked and released. KUAM has learned she was with Plausius when he was picked up by the police. She was arrested for a warrant violation. Cabe was previously arrested in 2018 for possession of a Scheduled 1 and Scheduled 2 controlled substance. One of the Philippine government's top officials for overseas relations is expressing optimism over a pair of key bilateral issues. They are the recruitment of Filipino H-2B workers and establishing a Guam-only visa waiver for Philippine citizens. Nestor Lecanto reports.
Francisco Acosta is the secretary of the Commission on Filipinos Overseas. His agency oversees issues and concerns relating to the millions of Filipinos working abroad. The importance of these citizens to his country cannot be overstated.
Because of their remittances, which in 2018 totaled $32.21 billion, or about 10% of our national budget.
Acosta said his agency also touches on foreign labor, and while the Philippines was recently removed from the U.S. H-2B visa program for overstays, Acosta believes Guam specifically should be reinstated.
I think by Guam statistics, we have a very, shall we say, insignificant incidents of overstaying. Primarily because, maybe because Guam is an island, and it will be very improbable for one to enter Guam as a passage to the mainland.
The retired Supreme Court Justice is also confident a Guam-only visa waiver for Filipinos may finally be granted. He says representatives from Guam met with President Rodrigo Duterte's right-hand man, Executive Secretary Salvador Madea.
Through the efforts of former Governor Carl Gutierrez, acting for and in behalf of our incumbent Governor Lourdes Guerrero, we were able to have an initial conference with our executive secretary. Our government is willing to give all the cooperation it can in order to have that travel visa-free for Filipinos to Guam. Our standard of living in the Philippines has significantly increased so that we have Filipinos can now afford to visit other countries.
Acosta adds that warming ties between President Duterte and President Trump could be the key.
We are very, very confident, especially so when our relationship is getting better. Our president even signified that he's willing to visit the United States, perhaps in the near future.
For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
As part of this year's Contra Peligro 2019 exercise, members of the Guam Fire Department were hard at work testing their capabilities at the old Tanguisan power plant. Here's more. Hoisting two individuals up, running through a decon line in order to reach the surface and transport the patients for treatment. The Guam Fire Department practices this in the Confined Space Rescue Evolution for this year's Contra Peligro exercise.
It tests our abilities, our capabilities. Right now we're simulating two people that fell into a confined space, so we're doing extrication for them right now.
Inside the old power plant in Tanguisan, GFD performed this full-scale exercise, allowing for the officers to deploy all their equipment and train on it. On the scene of this incident, Commander Edward Flores oversees the team.
This scene is a part of the Contra Peligro exercise. We found two individuals that were incapacitated in a confined space location. Unknown chemical odor in the location. So what we did was we had our confined space rescue and our rescue unit make an entry. They did some air monitoring just to make sure that they could operate within the area, and then we lowered down and did the rescue.
Rescuing the patients, this was the primary objective, says Flores, and following that, the team will respond to the hazardous material incident in the same vicinity. As you're witnessing the responders react, what are your thoughts?
Well, it's a good opportunity for us to train. We don't usually get these many resources. We don't get to utilize as many assets such as the CST and other government agencies. So it's always a good opportunity for us to do that.
This is just one of the multiple incidents that took place all over the island for the two-day exercise, allowing all responders to stay on their feet and test their abilities. Following the passage of 3 bills, legislation is introduced that proposes to bring accountability to charter schools, says the author of the measure, Senator Tello Taitigui. GDOE Superintendent John Fernandez says otherwise.
When the other bills that were being discussed on the floor, the removal of DOE, that was basically the agency that was overseeing the charter schools with regards to funding. Was taken out of the picture.
This was an understanding the Guam Department of Education and the Guam Academy charter schools wanted, and is now a reality with new laws in place. However, this drew a concern by one lawmaker.
I wasn't comfortable in voting on this until I knew that I had something in place that would bring accountability to the charter schools, and that is to support a bill that would support an administrator for the charter schools.
Senator Tello Taitigui has introduced Bill 180, a measure she says will bring accountability by the way of an administrator. This position would be chosen from the Charter School Council. The bill also incorporates the location for the school to be housed at the Department of Education.
It's about, educating our students, our children on Guam, and I know that the separation was wanted by both sides, the charter and DOE, but that's one thing. But to keep the collaboration is more important than anything, that stays together. And I think that if the charter schools were there in front of DOE all the time, every day, and working with them, I think that there would be this closeness that the relationship can build from that.
A collaboration Superintendent John Fernandez feels is already evident without legislation.
But as you can see through the past several years of our experience with the charters, I think we all agree it just makes sense to fund us separately, have our hearings separately, deal with accountability separately, and then we don't have any confusion over what our role is versus the charter schools.
Fernandez says he has reached out to Senator Tiedemann to consult on the measure.
I think full separation means full separation, so any effort to kind of get back and say, well, DOE should do this in charter schools, and there doesn't need to be any involvement if there's not going to be some requisite authority or role for us to be partners. We're already able to partner without legislation.
The bill creates an administrative position under the Guam Charter Schools, who will oversee charter schools, make sure spending is done correctly, watching student enrollment, maintaining the collaboration with DOE and charter schools. Bill 180 is in committee awaiting a public hearing from Chairman Senator Talina Nelson. One senator says he will keep his voice raised in support of the buildup. Julia Santos has more from a recent Rotary of Guam meeting.
Senator James Moylan spoke with Rotarians about the military buildup and regressive taxes and how they affect our island's economy. On the buildup, he highlighted the fact that the military has spent millions of dollars in studying potential environmental impacts of the buildup, as well as developing solutions to mitigate those impacts. One of the solutions is the $12 million repository that will be built at UOG for preservation and research. He spoke briefly also about the recent calls for a pause in the construction of the firing range by activists, the slandering of the military activity, and Rear Admiral Chatfield's response.
She said, we've got all this criticism. The military is haphazardly, disrespectfully, and otherwise making the federal process like a fraud and historic. We're not taking care of historic or cultural values. She says that's inaccurate. And I saw it and I understand it and I agree. The questions that my colleagues have had are answered. But it's a matter of, are you accepting the answer and are you going to move forward? And I am.
He brought up several bills that he's introduced to help local businesses and entrepreneurs, asking Rotarians for their input on these matters, inviting them to work with him in developing policy that helps grow the economy. Kazu Endo had this to say about Moylan's presentation.
As a person that's interested in words and how they get used, I think the whole problem was calling it a buildup. I think it should have always been called a partnership, and just the semantics alone made people take sides. I'm against it, I'm for it. Who's going to be against partnership with the military? The biggest impact for the island is going to be, respecting the past, but not letting the past keep us from moving forward. And I think those things have to be discussed in an honest, transparent way.
For Guam's News Network, I'm Julia Santos.
Guam Power Authority held its first annual vendor outreach at the Gloria B. Nelson Public Service Building Tuesday morning. GPA Assistant GM Tracy Perez Limtiaco says that they're holding the event to better understand what products and services the business community on Guam can offer based on the agency's needs.
So Guam Power Authority can buy anything from pencils to power plant parts to wires to car parts. It also helps us engage with the local community, the business community, which we don't get to do enough of.
Jamie Pangolin, GPA Supply Management Administrator, says the outreach is an opportunity for current vendors to update their profiles. She says today was a great success, attracting over 40 companies, both current and new.
With this outreach fair to get our vendors, and not only the vendors we deal with, but other vendors that are interested in participating with Guam Power Authority's future solicitation.
Stay tuned. Next on Weekend Edition, we have trend spotting, and still to come, the Guam Crime Stoppers Report.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
Half the day, I'm in the club.
Half a day, welcome to Two Lovers Point.
Half a day, I'm in the club.
The summer of Jeep, Compass, Cherokee, Wrangler, Cars Plus in Mighty. Your new adventure starts now. Buy the 2019 Motor Trend SUV of the year and get a new Jeep Wrangler Sport for $268 per paycheck. Or get a new Jeep Compass Sport, only $167 per paycheck. Let them hear you coming in the new 2019 Jeep Cherokee. Buy for $205 per paycheck. And get financing as low as 1.99% on all Jeep models. Come see why you'll be kicking it at Cars Plus in Mighty. Driven by you.
Matson is in this community. We've been in this community for decades. We're gonna be in this community for decades to come. Things will get busy, things will get quiet, but we're gonna be here. We're your hometown carrier. And that matters to us.
Reliability is the core of our business. We take pride in ensuring that we arrive in Guam on time as scheduled.
It's our local employees who understand the market, who understand the business, and provide that hard work for you each and every day.
When we hold ourselves to high standards, our customers also hold us to high standards. We establish good business relationships that turn into friendships. That's why it's so important to be here and be trusted by your customers. We want you to trust Matson like your friend, like your family.
Hi everyone, I'm Asha Robles, and these are the stories that had you talking this week on Trend Spotting.
Chris broke big news this week when he reported that Colonel Esther Aggie, the woman in charge of the Guam National Guard, would be getting $41,000 more per year after Adelup saw fit to give her a pay bump. This set Facebook off. John and Larissa quickly commented, "And everyone else is on an increment freeze? Wow." Right after that, Mina Taknan typed a sentiment shared by lots of island school teachers, writing, "This is just ridiculous. Meanwhile, educators are not getting the increment we worked for." We then did a follow-up the very next night, as Adelup admitted the raise was a mistake, which had Facebook user Eric ask, "Will it have to be paid back?" And Steve noted, "All of a sudden, it's a mistake because it was made in the news." It was on Sunday that Keith Castro was shot at a home along Chalan Tun Fred Cabeza in Gqo. Police received the report just before 9 p.m. that night. He was transported to the Guam Regional Medical City where he was pronounced dead by attending physicians. GPD's Criminal Investigation Division detectives are now investigating and asking for the public's help in locating Thomas Mark Mendiola Taitano. He is wanted for questioning in relation to the fatal shooting. Taitano was last seen on Monday night along Chalan Evangelista in Gqo. Police warn that if you see him, do not approach him as he is considered armed and dangerous. Here's how some of you reacted online. John on Facebook said, "So GPD wants people to snitch instead of doing their job. Guess the public should just take care of the public and stop paying taxes misused and abused by politics and gov officials." To which fellow Facebook user Jay responded, "GPD has a good point in asking for the public's help. It's not all about the tax money or the wages. Make a choice here, hide him or give another life away. If you have any information on the whereabouts of Taitano, you are urged to call GPD dispatchers at 472-8911 or 475-8615 or call the nearest precinct. On Thursday night, Assistant Attorney General David Highsmith was arrested for assaulting attorney Gary Gumentautal at the Superior Court. Facebook user Eddie joked, "PXC, Prosecution Extreme Combat." But with all jokes aside, Gumentautal seems seriously injured as he was taken out in a stretcher by medics and transported to GRMC. 67-year-old Highsmith was booked and released. The AG's office says it will conduct an administrative review of the incident. Here's what others had to say about the altercation. Romil asks, "Are all leadership positions in Guam given to the most unqualified and inept people?" Mary says, "Unprofessional, like kids fighting." And Face simply questions, "Great role models? Yikes." We're going around the island to check your favorite mom and pop village stores, stocking up on the best locally loved snacks and delicacies, and meeting the people who own, work at, and frequent these neighborhood treasures. Catch In Myville, an exclusive digital series on the social media platforms of KUAM News, KUAM.com, and the KUAM News mobile app, and get the story map. We'll roll out a new feature on a different store from north to south. In Myville is presented by Pepsi.
Check out Triple J's spectacular deals going on now during the hot summer savings event. 0 down and no payments for 90 days. Get into a Mazda CX-5 at its lowest price of $19,995 or $152 per paycheck. The big boy truck, the Ford F-150, starting at $282 per paycheck, or the Honda Civic starting at only $176 per paycheck. Triple J says yes. Purchase your next vehicle online at triplejguam.com today. Triple J, customers first.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
Okay, we are back, everybody. Welcome to the part of the program where we tell you about how to stay safe. Now, Sergeant Paul Tapao is here right now. Everybody knows him. He's the nicest guy on Guam. That is not the case tonight because he is angry. Word of warning, because, Sarge, a crime happened in our island community right now. You, in fact, took this very, very personal, and it's got you really, really upset.
It has, and it's very unfortunate that it happened. And, you know, with all the efforts in which the Guam Police Department has done with the outreach and, of course, the community policing strategy with embedding ourselves in the community, to hear something of this type of crime involving a community in itself, and I'm talking about the Taitano Apartments along Harmon Industrial Park. You know, a group of thugs, I'm gonna call them thugs, teenagers, actually went in there and they started terrorizing the residents there, asking them, demanding money. Pretty much, I mean, that is really uncalled for, and I think this is the time where we need to understand our responsibilities and our duties as citizens, and to stand up and actually doing what's right and really, really taking ownership of our community.
Okay, some people might think because it was young people that committed this crime, and there were so many of them, that they may not face very stiff penalties, you know, because they're young people, and they'll be like, oh, okay, well, it'll be a slap on the wrist, or they'll go to DY. What punishment do these young people face for, you know, terrorizing is no small joke. That's a really serious crime.
You know, they forget to realize that we can actually upgrade the stature or upgrade the offense. We can actually charge them as an adult. If in the event, you know, and this is pretty much, it's written out, this constitutes a felony, you know, a felony degree of a crime, and these kids, these thugs, these teenagers can actually be charged as an adult. So it really, you know, I apologize for my demeanor and everything, but, you know, when you hear about it, and you guys did the story, and, you know, it really breaks my heart that, you know, all the efforts in what we do, it's really, you know, we want to make that difference, but we're asking the community, and we're particularly asking the parents, you know, be a part of the responsibility of your child. That is your responsibility. And knowing that these are teenagers, these kids, they have to have adult supervision. And, you know, everybody asks the questions, where are the parents? And this is where we're going to ask the question, where are the parents in this situation and everything, and where, you know, what we can do. And it's really understanding the crime and understanding what happened. You know, I applaud the efforts and I applaud the bravery of the residents of Taitano Apartments, but, you know, we need the help. We need the help from the community in bringing closure to this, because we need to make a statement that we're not going to stand for this as a community and as an island.
And Sarge, perhaps more alarmingly, is we've seen this kind of crime before, and it's very, very unique. Mm-hmm. It's also incredibly scary, because you're talking about, like, sometimes when like apartment buildings, they're an enclosed area. It's a small amount of space, and yet, you know, there's all these residents, many of whom are probably home at that time. All of a sudden they hear something going on, and it's like a hurricane blows in there. You know, it gets stronger and stronger. Yep. People start sticking their head out. You know, you've got elderly people, you've got babies, you've got people who are just incredibly confused. There may be some people that want to take matters into their own hands. If this should happen, perish the thought, in somebody's apartment building and everything, what's the best way to handle that?
Secure yourself, be safe as possible. You know, find safety in your homes. secure, lock your doors and everything, and then immediately call the police. The first thing you need to do is immediately call the police, give them a go-by of what's going on, give a good description. If you're able to capture a video or a picture of them, that's the best evidence in which we can use. We can do the follow-up, but that's emergent threat that we need to address right there and right now because of the fact of threat of bodily harm, the use of weapons, and of course, the situation that they're in. Secure yourself in the confines of your home, call the police immediately, give them the nature of what's going on, be as detailed as possible, be very descriptive, give information, give a play-by, stay on the line with either 911 or the dispatcher that you're in communication with, and provide the go-by so that we can actually, responding officers who are responding to that call, actually have a visual and an understanding so that we can actually prepare and we can actually, coordinate our approach, coordinate our efforts in either bringing adjacent units from respective precincts. These are the things in which we have to take into consideration. But for the residents that were experiencing this, the safety of your homes, call 911, call the police, call authorities immediately.
And I've seen that before because if people call, there may be a police unit that comes like within minutes.
Yep, absolutely.
If even that, or like you said, I mean, there may be a police, they may be doing patrol and they may be right on an adjacent street. 30 seconds later, they're there and they can control the situation.
Yeah, you're spot on. And we have the adjacent precincts of the Agana precinct, we have the Dedado precinct, and of course the responding precinct will be the Tuman precinct. So we can easily, merge the efforts so that we can concentrate our efforts towards that direction. But, we're going to take this case, we're taking this seriously. This is brought to the attention, of course, to our investigators at CID, and we want to bring closure, but we're going to need the help from the community. We're going to need the help from the residents to really provide that information and really understand that what they're doing by reporting this is the right thing to do. And this is what you call taking responsibility. It's not their fault that this happened to them, but what they can do is taking responsibility of their home, their community, by reporting crime, by giving us that accurate information. And it goes twofold, to the parents of the kids. Listen to the report, understand it. If this is your child, if this was your child and you heard about this, whether it be through social media or what you're hearing in the news, please take that responsibility, take that effort, be the right parent, and bring your child in. We know for a fact that they're teenagers. We know for a fact because of witness accounts and everything. Give us that information, please. This is a time in which we can make the difference. This is a time in which we can actually become stewards of our community by providing that information. And, we're asking the parents to dig deep and really find out what they can do to make right of what they did.
Okay, and you've told us this many, many times. If you do want to fight crime, and everybody does, there is no greater weapon than information. So here is what you need to know about the crime at Taitano Apartments.
The Guam Crime Stoppers are seeking the help from the community relative to a terrorizing complaint that occurred at Taitano Apartments in Harmon. Now, preliminary police reports suggest that on Saturday, July 13, at around 7:30 in the evening, 7 male minors, possibly teenagers, armed with knives and pipes, began demanding money from residents of Taitano Apartments and began damaging a door to a unit. The individuals were given money by residents of the apartment in hopes of them leaving with no incident. As a group of thugs were leaving, they threatened the residents not to call the police and began damaging cars that were parked within the parking lot. If anyone has any information about this crime or any other crime, you can call our 24-hour hotline at 477-HELP, that's 4357, or submit a tip online at guam.crimestoppersweb.com. All calls will remain completely confidential, and a cash reward of up to $1,000 could be paid if the information provided leads to an arrest and a grand jury indictment. Your call does make a difference.
Okay, Sarge, I know you were holding back there because you're really, really upset. But I don't know if you guys can see this, but I've known Paul a very long time, and this has got you very disturbed.
It has, because we've, our community partners such as Marco Indian Resource Center, Manialo, and we do the efforts. They come out there and they provide the assistance to the community, and to hear about this, and it really is, disheartening to hear that the efforts in which the communities in which we're serving, these are the individuals responsible were identified with the community. So. I mean, it breaks our heart, but it doesn't deter us from what we're going to continue to do. This is going to provide us with a baseline in which we may need to restructure our approach and provide us a direction of where we need to address the audience or to address the citizens, and where we can be effective in providing information about making right choices, about decision-making skills, about being better stewards within the community. So. Rest assured, our office and the Guam Police Department and all our nonprofit partners and our community partners are going to continue to do the work. This is not going to deter us from what we're going to do. This is going to enhance us. And, you know, I always like to say, it's going to make us more better with all our efforts and our initiatives.
All right. We improvise, we adapt, and we overcome. That's
Absolutely,
what we do.
absolutely. But, you know, again, I'm asking the help of the community. The island is asking the help. So if you have any information, please provide that information to the Guam Crime Stoppers or call our dispatchers at 472-8911.
Okay, Sarge, thanks so much.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
All right. Stay tuned. We're back after this.
If you get nervous about having dental treatment, you're not alone. An estimated 35 million adults experience anxiety or nervousness at the simple thought of visiting the dentist. As your dentist, I strive to make your visit as painless or pain-free as possible. And I frequently tell my patients that in the 21st century, if we can give you medicines to put your tooth asleep or medicines to take an infection or toothache away, we can surely give you something to help relax you and take all fear away. No one ought to sit in a dental chair thinking of bad childhood memories or fearing injections. If you're a dental coward, but you really do want your teeth fixed, don't wait until the pain is killing you. Come in, tell us your fears, and set up an appointment. We have convinced many that dental treatment doesn't need to be scary anymore. For your helpful dental minute, I'm Dr. Kenny Bourgeois of Paradise Smiles. You shall never know all the good a simple smile can do.
And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of birthday shout-outs from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club.
We've got some weekend birthdays to get to, so happy birthday on Saturday to Net Modena, who has a birthday today, and to Sam Diego, who also blows out the candles on August 3rd. On Sunday, Jasmine Alcantara has a birthday, so happy birthday to you, Jasmine, and everybody out there who has a birthday this weekend from KUAM and Cold Stone Creamery.
Remember, you can be part of the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club by registering online on KUAM.com. Please make sure to include with your photo, your name, and birthday. That's all the time we have from all of us here at Guam's News Network. Thank you for watching and have a safe weekend.
Closed captioning is brought to you by IT&E. Explore your world.